Welcome back. At the time of the Eastern Han Dynasty, some 2,000 years ago, a group of scholars successfully petitioned the emperor to have the 7 Confucian classics carved on stone. The project would take 9 years to complete and use a total of 46 steles. Now, 2,000 years later, the steles provide a fascinating insight into history.
One day, in the early part of the 20th century, when the country was in the grip of warfare, a group of farmers gathered on a deserted plot of land in the village of Zhujiagedang in Henan province. They were carrying spades, and no sooner had they arrived than they started digging. Elsewhere, their progress was being followed by antique dealers across the country. They were looking for a stele, and as soon as they found it, the dealers flocked to Zhujiagedang. During the period of the Eastern Han Dynasty, more than 1,800 years ago, a famous university has stood on the site where the village now lies. One day in the year 183, the university was a scene of great excitement. In turn, they stopped before 46 carved stones, sometimes writing something down, sometimes reciting something. These stones were known as the Xiping Stone Classics. In the ancient past, before printing was industrialized, scholars were obliged to make personal copies of texts for the purpose of learning them. Inevitably, they made mistakes during the copying process. So, in the year 175, several leading Eastern Han Dynasty scholars suggested that the Confucian classes should be inscribed on steles, and these would serve as the standard version for teaching university students. It took 9 years to complete the project. The steles were erected in what is today Zhujiagedang village. Collectively, the pieces were known as the Xiping Stone Classics. Seven classic works were carved on the steles. They were Poems of the State of Lu, Records of the Grand Historian, Book of Changes, Chunqiu, Gongyang Zhuan, Etiquette, and the Analectics of Confucius. In total, more than 200,000 words were carved on the 46 steles. However, in 189, not long after the stone classics were completed, Emperor Ling died. There was a bloody clash between the powerful court eunuchs and the imperial officials. Eventually, the warlord Dong Zhuo seized the control of the capital, Luoyang. The Xiping Stone Classics were badly damaged in the fire. Some of the 46 steles were moved elsewhere. The majority, which were damaged, were buried at the ancient site of the university. Hundreds of years passed, and the steles were forgotten. The fate of the ancient steles would become closely associated with 2 famous figures in the early 20th century. One was Yu Youren, a senior official in the Kuomintang party. The other was a famous general, Yang Hucheng. In 1931, Yu Youren came to Luoyang. There, he headed directly to the antiques market. Yu Youren's hobby was collecting ancient steles. He had come to Luoyang after hearing that several of the Xiping Stone Classics had been unearthed. In an antiques shop, he saw a rectangle store. Its shape resembled an old cow eating grass. Tenderly, Yu Youren wiped the dust from the surface. Underneath, he saw some words, which he recognized as a passage from the Book of Changes.